This is Beach Talk Radio.
Good morning, Mr. and Mrs. America, and all ships at sea. This is your captain speaking, Mean Gene. Mean Gene. The following will be a test of the ship's whistle, the sonar alarm, the cable alarm, and the atomic attack alarm.
Ladies and gentlemen, broadcasting live from the Margaritaville Terrace on Fort Myers Beach, 100 feet from the Gulf of America. Here are your award-winning social media superstars, the hosts of Beach Talk Radio, Kim and Ed Ryan.
Yeah, thank you all for coming to La Di Da. We are not at Margaritaville's Terrace. We are at La Di Da, where it is nice and cool, and you can see the beautiful longer beach right behind us. You can't really see it in the picture, but I'm telling you, it's there, and it looks fabulous. And right next to us is the Crescent Park, and they're doing a fabulous job on that one. Over there today, snuck in the back gate there, and took some video of it, posted that. So if you have a chance to look at that. In the middle of Crescent Park, from a distance, it looks like artificial turf, but it's real grass. They put in real grass out there, so it's not going to be artificial turf. And a lot of trees going in there. We also did a video of Lynn Hall Park, which is going to take a little bit longer because they just started that. But everything is moving and grooving here on Fort Myers Beach. And just take care of a few things that we have coming up that are of the utmost importance, because we have a super important election going on here on the beach with 3 seats that are up for election in November. And so we have Tom coming on tomorrow at 10 o'clock, Tom Brady for Dan. So we'll see Tom Brady tomorrow at 10 o'clock. And also Wednesday, we're having a debate with all 5 candidates. That's going to be at the Margaritaville Ballroom. And everybody's welcome to come into the ballroom and ask questions with all 5 candidates. That's Wednesday night. Saturday is the Patriot Boat Parade, which starts at Salty Sam's. So that's going to be where we're broadcasting from at 11 o'clock on Saturday next week. And then Sunday, we have Anita Saracita on. So that will give you a full hour of all 5 candidates and a debate right before the primary even starts, even though there is no primary here because it's nonpartisan on the beach. But you'll get a chance to see every candidate interviewed for an hour, and then you'll see them in the scrum together at Margaritaville on Wednesday night at 5 o'clock. Then, of course, it's the 4th of July, and it's the 250th anniversary of this great country. And on Fort Myers Beach, yes, big round of applause for the US of A. Did they win yesterday in football? Yes. I could care less about soccer. I can't stand a game where it can end 0-0 and nobody knows how much time is left in the game. So I think I saw the USA won 2-0. They played Australia, right? Or some other team. I didn't even know Australia had soccer players, but I don't know. They won twice now. I have no idea what that means. Okay, they won their group, so they have no chance of winning the World Cup, right? Or do they? I mean, it's the women have more of a chance. I don't know anything about soccer. I do know a lot about basketball, and I keep watching clips of the parade and that tip-in, but I'm not going to bring it up anymore. It's over with. So that's everything that's going on. The 4th of July parade will start down by Bay Oaks, and it'll come up over here across this intersection here and down to Times Square. And then the fireworks, we'll be broadcasting the parade from the Whale and the fireworks from the Margaritaville Terrace, because they'll be blown off right behind us here from a barge. So there's a lot of stuff going on, even though it's a little bit hot outside. But if you come to the beach, you can go in the pool or in the water, or you can come here, and it's really nice here. It's cool. The fans are going. So today's show is sponsored by the Alex King Group, the Island's Pancake House, and Eagle Strike Roofing, and we'll tell you more about those folks as we move the show along. So right now, I want to introduce you to our guest for the hour. Oh, by the way, Kim's not here because, she loves you all, and I think she loves me, but she probably loves you more. We were told that the baby's coming over with the family to celebrate Father's Day for us, so she was like, no chance I'm going, so she's going to be at home. Probably getting the house ready for the baby, not for the fathers. So she will be at the show tomorrow. but you will not be here today. So our guest for the remainder of the hour, now that I rambled for 5 minutes, is John McLean. John McLean, big hand for John. John, thanks for coming on. John is a council member at the moment. He's also one of 5 council members, or one of 5 candidates running for town council. So, John, thanks for coming on.
Thank you, Ed.
So, John, first of all, we were chatting before the show. I wanted you to you weren't involved in politics on the island until Hurricane Ian hit, and then you were like a fly on the wall. You were at every meeting.
Yeah.
What happened there?
Well, I mean, Hurricane Ian hit, and I saw just what had happened to us and all of the residents and the whole community, and I was like, how does a community recover from something this horrific? And I wanted to understand, and I wanted to do whatever I could to help. And the way to understand was to just dive into the LPA meetings and the town council meetings. And I was surprised that when there was public comment that actually town council wanted to hear from the residents. They wanted that kind of feedback, and it just grew from there. As I got involved, I enjoyed being involved. I enjoyed trying to understand and learn and contribute as much as I could, and I just kept doing it.
So tell everybody watching who John McLean is.
Who am I? I'm a father. I'm a husband. I'm a not so recently, I retired actually right after the storm. Before that, I worked in technology primarily for AT&T Business, selling data center services and cloud-based services. So I, have a really strong business background, and post-retirement, I'm a volunteer contributor and now council member.
So you have a house on the island?
Yeah, we do have a house on the island, which we actually we decided to elevate our house. So we had a house on Egret Street, which is where the theater is, and it was a ranch, and it got done in like all the ranches on the island did, but it was a cinder block on a slab. So structurally, it was fine. So we decided to raise it up above flood, and that took a long time. And like everybody else, we had all the same roadblocks and issues. And we finally got back into our home just before Christmas this year.
Where were you living?
So we were really fortunate that we had built a short-term rental down here across from where the Diamond Head is, and that's on Delmar Street. Mm-hmm. And because it was built to the new codes and everything else, other than the pool, that house had a piece of siding come off of it. It was fine. It was untouched, basically. So for the last 3 years, we thought we were building a short-term rental house. We got one season out of it, and it became our backup house. And that's where we were able to live, which was really, really fortunate for us. And it allowed me to stay on the island, or Elena and I to stay on the island. That helps being involved when you're here and you're local and you're doing it. And it was actually really interesting because as people that lived mid-island and then South Island, we never really had the experience of what was happening down here because it was so hard to get down here in season, right?
Right.
So living on Delmar, we really got to enjoy the downtown district and all the businesses that are down here. And it was wonderful.
So who is the company that you're using to raise your house?
It was called United Foundations.
Okay.
And
did they do a good job?
They did a great job. They did a great job.
Because a lot of people are still considering raising their house or doing it now.
And there's like 25 people that are going to raise their houses with the government.
The government money that took 4 years to finally show up.
Right. Well, that was one of the reasons we decided to do it on our own. Is number one, we knew that it was going to take forever.
Those poor people. I feel so bad. I mean, what do you do? You can't even touch your house because you're waiting for the money. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
It's really, really difficult. I mean, a lot of people were able to put their houses back together and live in them, but what ended up happening with then Milton and everything that came afterwards.
So you start going to meetings. First of all, real quick, what did you think of how the town at the time reacted to the storm?
Oh my God. Well, that's when I met you, was in the parking lot at the Park and Ride.
Wow.
When we were trying to get back on the island, and LCSO were like, you go back into your car and wait. And I'm like, no, I got to go talk to my friend. And I'd never met you until then. And I wandered off and spoke with you and said, what the hell's going on? Like,
Yeah.
what can't,
Nobody
what are
was
we
there
doing?
from the town, right?
Oh, no, Dan was there.
Yeah.
Dan was there.
Yeah.
And you know, he showed some really, and continues to show some really great leadership.
Yeah. So you start going to meetings. Is the LPA the first one, or were you on a different committee?
No, the first one was the LPA. I was involved with community action, I guess you would say, with Let's Go FMB. So at Let's Go FMB, I was actually the chair of the resident committee. So the first thing we were trying to do was help people navigate the permitting process and understand what was involved with that. You know, we worked with the town, and you know, we ended up obviously having great leadership and improvement of leadership in the town, where they understood to be responsive to the residents and help them navigate this process and everything. So we tried to work with them. Yeah, that was a really good experience. And I got to meet a bunch of people that are, you know, very strong supporters and cheerleaders of getting this town back together.
Yeah. So the LPA after that.
And then the LPA. So I was appointed to the LPA. And that was mostly because I think of my grounding with the LPA. I was at all their meetings. I was reading all their packets. I'm like you. I'm one of those people that actually dives into those 600-page packets. and
I wish it would make our lives easier. Of course, it's always about us. If on the agenda they would say, okay, we have this agenda item on the top. It starts on page 389 on the bottom, because you can't really see where the agenda item starts when it's, you know, they list them at the top. And I know this is irrelevant to most people or all people watching, but when you go through the agenda, you never know where to stop, because there's so, like, you could have a 1,000-page agenda, no joke.
That's true.
So just say, if they could say it starts on, you know, on the side, page 300, 400, 500, because not every issue is important. I mean, when they're redoing the declaration of emergency, it's not real. Nobody cares about that. They want to see the items coming up where they want to speak in public comment. So
yeah.
Anyway,
I think like a table of contents would be really helpful.
Yeah, okay, that was an easy way to put it. Yeah, I don't know how I couldn't get that out of my mouth in 3 words, but you did. So how long were you on the LPA?
2 years, I guess it was.
Really?
Yeah.
It was that long?
Yeah,
so,
almost 2 years. Not quite 2 years, but almost 2 years.
So Jane was the chair at the time, and then Anita became the chair after that.
Actually, when they were. When the LPA decided who was going to be chair, during that very first meeting, it was Jane was originally going to be chair, and then it switched to Anita.
Oh, it's been 2 years.
Right at the beginning. Yeah.
Okay, so you put your name in the hat for town council. I can't remember who it was, and then of course we have that whole debacle with Rebecca's counting, but you wind up getting appointed. How long ago?
What was that? February.
So it's been a few months since you've been on. Why are you running? Why did you decide that you wanted to run?
Well, I mean, the same reason that I put my hat in the ring back in February. It's because I believe and have a vision for this island that actually aligns with what our strategy is right now. Like, we just put together a strategic plan, and it talks about a thriving island that's, you know, wonderful place for everybody to live, and that's my vision. So I wanted to make sure that was something that those voices were being heard. I'm a pro-development type of person. I want to see this island not just survive. The sky isn't going to fall on us, but I want to see this island thrive.
Okay, we'll get to the sky falling in a few questions, but so. How much money have you raised? How much money do you think you need to raise? How will you raise it? What will you use it for?
So honestly, I'm just so early in the process for that. Right now, I've self-funded just to kick off the campaign.
Mm-hmm. How much did you put in?
Put in $1,000.
Okay.
Yeah, so not much at all.
Right. What do you think you need?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, it depends on how important. I've heard anywhere from like 5,000 to 15,000 is somewhere in there.
And what you'll use it for signage and?
Yeah, I mean, there's the traditional stuff. I think there's social media that needs to happen. There's, the outreach. So a lot of it's going to be trying to get name recognition.
You don't think you have it?
Well, I think I do have it for those that are paying attention, but there are so many people that are really, they're going to get engaged as we get really close to the election.
Yeah.
Right.
So do you have like a campaign team or a campaign manager, or who's running your campaign?
That's me, baby.
So I heard Beverly Milligan was running your campaign. Is that true?
No, that's not true. I mean, she's a supporter, and I really
like an advisor. Is she an advisor?
Well, I really appreciate her support and everything, and she obviously has done a lot for this community and the things that she's been involved in. But I'm looking to, hear from everybody. And so I don't know that I really want to go the route of having, an advisory committee. I think that limits the input that I get, and I need to hear from a lot of people. So
what did you think when Anita announced that she was going to run?
I was surprised because she had said over and over again that she was not going to run. Anita's done so much for this community over the years. There's no question about that. And she's a friend.
Yeah.
So I was a little bit surprised, but I'm happy to see her in.
Are you?
Well, it makes my life a little more difficult. It makes the task harder. But that said, listen, there's 3 slots that are available, and I'm going to make the best argument I can that I'm the right choice for one of those 3 slots.
So how do you, there's 3 slots, 5 people. I mean, if we're being honest, I think Anita jumped in because perhaps she feels like she's on one side of things and you might be on a different side with Ed. And then they're trying to make sure that they keep things moving in the direction that the recall started. Do you agree with that?
I think that's an interpretation of it. I don't know that I don't know what's going on in other people's minds, and they're not sharing with me what their strategies are. So
is it a right interpretation or a wrong interpretation?
I think it's got merit.
Okay.
I think it's got merit. I mean, the reality is this community, I'm sure we'll get into it as far as, my voting record and things like that. But this community is really been divided by the recall. And I know that there was a significant amount of the residents that supported that. I'm sorry, I didn't. And I feel like anybody that sided on that, I mean, they were either lied to or they believed it. And, one is, I think the whole activity as it's starting to play out is showing that there was no basis for the allegations. None.
It certainly is interesting to watch how you don't need the proof to get it on the recall, and they were successful at that. And the recall was successful. And now as you watch the court case, all they needed to do was show proof and the court case would go away. Right?
And there's
none so far.
I mean, there was a discovery, and the responses to the discovery were
lame.
None.
Yeah,
they were none.
So when you see what's going on with the court case, how do you think that impacts the town? Do people care anymore?
I'm hearing from people that are angry that they were lied to. I'm hearing people that actually felt like there was some basis to the allegations, and there was. It appears that there are none.
Oh, wow. I never even really thought about that. People might think they were lied to. I was just under the impression that they didn't care. They knew it was about Seagate.
I'm sure there are people that are like that, but there are also people that really felt like that.
Anita said I was wrong, by the way, so she's watching. Whatever my interpretation was wrong. But
well, Anita will be able to clarify it. Like I said, I don't know what's in other people's minds, and they haven't shared it with me, so I don't know. So
let's talk about Seagate. I have a feeling that'll come back to haunt you in this election, but what do I know? You did vote yes on Seagate on the LPA, and it did get approved. So if you had to do it all over again, would you still vote yes?
So the answer is I'm not sure.
Come on, John.
No, I'm not. Let me explain.
Sure.
So a couple of things. When I voted I was on the LPA, and there was opposition to the project, but it did not have anywhere near the volume of or veracity of opposition that it received when it got to town council. So the public residential input wasn't as big a factor as it was for the later vote, number one. Number two is the reason in my evaluation was our biggest issues that we have here are infrastructure and traffic. And the Seagate project, while very high, and I've come to now respect and understand how impactful it was to the community around them, I didn't take that into enough account the first time around. But my reasoning behind it was there was no increase in density, and those units that were going to be there were going to be luxury condos that, you know, they'd be maybe 30% of the time occupied. They weren't going to do short-term rentals with them. There wasn't going to be a lot of traffic impact from them. Those were you know, a really luxurious development in the heart of the island. And oh, by the way, that Red Coconut RV Park was one of the areas in the comp plan that was specifically called out for redevelopment.
Right, but if you look at the comp plan, and I'm not sure if this is in the new comp plan, if you do look at the comp plan, the way it is laid out is single-family homes, and it's laid out a way different way.
Well, there's no question. I mean, number one, the comp plan didn't change that much, right? I will tell you this. We went through the whole thing, and I was part of that with the LPA.
Yeah, I'm glad I missed that meeting.
Well, I think everybody will be very pleased to know that it wasn't like, okay, throw off the restrictions. That is not what happened with the comp plan review.
Right.
It's pretty much the same. It just got updated with a few things. Now, yeah, the visuals showed low development spread out.
Right.
No question about that.
So let's go.
But you can't build that way. I'm sorry, it can't be done. We had to be.
Who can't?
Anybody.
Why can't you build that way?
I couldn't build that way. I had to elevate my house 14
Well,
feet.
you could build the homes, but they would need to be higher, right? You could build the homes.
You certainly could do something else. There's no question, but to think that what was shown in the pictures in the comp plan was something that could actually be built back and be built back economically, there's no way.
Right, because that comp plan was certainly written before Hurricane Ian when things needed to be higher.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was written before the changing of the regulations and everything else that happened. So,
but did they need to be 17 stories higher?
No, 17 stories not, and that's where you were trying to call me out as saying, well, you know, you're not giving me an answer on would I vote for it again? Yeah, no, that's pretty high.
Okay, so
but at the same time,
but let's go back to the LPA when it came up. I'll give you the fact that it didn't seem like the public was juiced up about it.
Correct.
And my learning of it was because they did not think it would pass. So they were kind of like, there's no way this is going to pass. I mean, looking back at history, I'm not saying I knew that back then. I certainly didn't. And then it got to the council, and there was a little more public involvement. But if you go back to the LPA meeting, are you saying that you didn't know that 17 stories would be offensive to a large part of the community because there was no public comment?
No, what I'm saying is that I'm not as afraid of height as I am of density. Okay. So I want to use an example from another one that we talked about, which was the Estero Island Beach Club.
Okay.
They came in and they came with a tower. It was, I think, 10 stories, and it was oriented so that you would see like a great majority of the property. You would be able to see and look through and see the beach and get the whole vista and everything else. And they listened to what the input was from the LPA, and then they came back, and then they had to come back again because of the height. I actually believe their first design was the best design. I think they ended up getting pushed into a non-optimal design. And if we keep pushing them into, you know, stick to the rigidity, we're going to end up with just a bunch of blocks of rectangles that are low and take up all of the property, and you won't be able to have any view corridors or see the beach. And I think every time we get involved in trying to push the design of something other than the codes, then I totally understand. That's our job. But when we start trying to be the architects, nobody has that kind of experience or expertise, nor should we. People have property rights. They can build, and they should be able to have the choice to build what's best within boundaries that the LPA and the town council set.
But wouldn't I don't know, because I don't have the exact number of the way voters and residents feel on the island, but don't you get the impression that they are opposed to height?
I do.
The large majority of people.
No, that's part of the learning, right? Is understanding that John McLean's thoughts and opinions that height doesn't matter as much as density are potentially not right. I got to take some feedback from other people, and they've been pretty clear. They're saying, no, 17 stories is too much. I get it. And it depends where it is, right? It always depends on where it is.
But we'll just focus on Seagate for a second, and then I'll let it go. So what would you say to that neighborhood today?
I would say I recognize now that having a 17-story building right off of your property lines is not an acceptable design, and the impact on your property is unfortunate.
Do you think the LPA didn't do enough research with the surrounding neighborhood? And I brought this up like a million times because I saw it in action on Tropical Shores Way when the town was thinking about putting in the shit house for the mooring field. That neighborhood went crazy and it got booted out. And that certainly wasn't 17 stories. It might have been 3 or 4 or something like that. It wasn't really very high because they wanted to protect the neighborhood. Did the LPA members? There wasn't every LPA member, because I don't even remember the final vote. Who voted?
It was 5-2. Jim Dunlap and I voted in favor of it.
So was there not enough information to feel like the neighborhood was important enough?
No. I mean, we don't go out and canvass. Let me preface this. When you're on the LPA, you don't go out and canvass the neighborhoods. You wait for the public comment for them to come in, and people write their emails and their letters, and they come in and speak in public comment, and you get a feedback from the residents that way. And during the LPA portion of that review, there just wasn't nearly as much as there turned out to be, and so all of a sudden that's new information, right?
Yeah.
That is information we didn't have at the time.
So lastly, just one more time, would you vote yes or no if it had come across your desk right now?
I would push back on the scale of that development.
So you would vote no on 17?
I would vote.
You can't vote maybe. You would have to vote yes or no.
I would have looked for them to come back with a more optimal design.
Okay. What would you say to Matt Price today? Have you talked to him since?
No, I haven't spoken to him. I haven't really seen his presence in the community since the whole thing happened. I mean, it got reviewed and it followed all the process it was supposed to.
Yeah.
It's been vetted.
So what would you say to him today about that project? If you had a chance.
I would say good luck.
Okay. All right. So, do you think that vote will have an impact on your chances of winning?
Without a doubt, sure. I mean, I'd be a fool to say it's not.
Okay. On to other things. And if anyone's watching has questions, feel free to. One of the things I love when people say, Terry especially, stick to the comp plan. Well, I mean, it's not really black and white. I mean, you can ask for other things and you can not get it, or you can provide enough public input to get it. And obviously you felt like Seagate at the time provided enough public input or a public benefit to get approval. I mean, that's the trade-off.
Actually, if you go back and what I remember really specifically saying during that process, that Seagate really knew how to thread the needle, because they were and all the developers are sophisticated enough to know how to check off elements within the comprehensive plan that support their development, and they did interconnected. They moved the property off of the beach. They were able to demonstrate that it was consistent with the comp plan and provided view corridors and in a way that made it approvable. I mean, that's the reality.
You live on the island. You interact with people. You don't sit at home in the house like I do. I mean, you participate in things all the time. Do you feel like the majority of people don't want to see really tall buildings, or the majority of people are saying, let's get this stuff done. We need development. We can deal with a little bit of height. It's only going to be on 5 or 6 pieces of property. Where are these people at on this island?
Well, there's a spectrum, right? A whole continuum of people. There are some people who, quite frankly, do not want to see any development. They like the open spaces. You know,
100%.
there are those people. And there are other people that are just build, baby, build. Like, let's go, let's go, let's go.
Yeah, one of them sitting at the bar right now.
But there are, I think, a majority of people that want to see and hear the easiest word to say, and everybody's going to say it.
Don't do it.
They
Don't
want
do it.
responsible development.
That's on my list of questions. What does that mean in your mind?
What's the definition of that,
Yeah.
right?
I hope nobody uses that on Wednesday.
I'm
Please
telling
don't
you,
say that.
It's almost hilarious, right? Because everybody says they're for responsible development. But the reality is responsible development does not, in my mind, for the majority of people, mean that you can only do 30 feet over flood. And I don't think it does. I really don't think it does.
In your mind, what does it mean?
It means something more than that. It could be, depending on where it is, it could be 10, 12 stories. It could be whatever. I don't know. It depends on the project, right? What is coming in?
Mm-hmm.
What are the benefits? How are we looking at it? What's the impact on the neighborhoods? All of those things come into play. So there is no pat answer. There is no 6 or lower is enough. Maybe there is for some people, but if you're actually like really charged with reviewing these projects, then it's not that simple an answer. You actually have to do the work. You actually have to understand what is behind the entire project and what the community sentiment is.
What in your mind is public benefit?
Well, there's a lot of things. Public benefit.
Top of your list.
The easiest one would be land, right? It would be
give us some land.
If you give some, like Tom did here with Margaritaville, that was an amazing thing.
That's called extortion, by the way.
Well,
that was a long time ago. We're over that. Never going to give that up. I mean,
so land, whether it's used for beach access, whether it's used for parks, whether it's used in perpetuity, those are that's the very top of the list, right? And then you go down and it's other things that are available, access, whether it's, restrooms at a beach access, just providing beach access. We need that for sure. But things that benefit the community as a whole, at the top of the list are the things that are actually given up by the developer. But then you can actually go down and I really believe you have to figure in the economic development that a project provides to a community, the amenities and whether or not they're public or private. If it's a private pool for the development, there's no benefit, obviously, to the public. Is there a benefit for being able to access Margarita's pool right here? Yeah. Yeah,
well,
it's open.
That's not open to the public, but you do get a 20% discount if you live on the island.
No, it's not free to the public,
right,
but it's accessible to the public.
Yeah.
So I'm talking about that.
Gotcha.
So
is a restaurant public benefit in your mind?
Well, if it's a private dinner club, then the answer is no.
Sure.
And if it's a public restaurant that's available for the community in an area that there are no restaurants or there's a lack of them, then yeah, there's some benefit to that for sure.
Everybody says it depends on where the buildings go. What is your opinion on how high a building can be on the south end?
Well, we've got a lot of high buildings on the south end, right? I live on the south end. I'm right on the edge of it. that's appropriate in there, especially when you get to the back bay. I mean,
So how
great
high is
back there.
appropriate on the south end?
I don't know. What do we got back there? 12, 13, 14 stories easily?
Which wouldn't be appropriate on this end unless it was that red coconut. Just kidding.
Well, I think let's talk about another project, Moss Marine. All right. There's impact on the neighborhood there, right?
Right.
But at the same time, look at that project. It's got such benefit for the community
it's
if
beautiful.
it gets built the way it is. I mean, we're maintaining the marina access. We're opening up. They are opening up. We're not doing it. We just enabled it. But they would be opening up that entire bayfront as a beautiful place for the public to go and shop and dine and enjoy.
Why? You said you live by the Beach Theater, the
Yes, I do.
old former Beach Theater. Why isn't that opening? What's going on there?
I wish we had some feedback from the owners. I mean, to me, that seemed like one of the easiest lifts on this island was to go in and refurbish that and have it open, and they missed a season. I have no understanding why they would. It would have done very, very well because there wasn't a lot of competition down that end of the island.
Yeah.
And
you guys approved this, so you can talk. Oh no, you can't talk about that one. That's the LPA. Sorry. Why isn't Myerside being built? We were talking about Beverly earlier. She's a friend of yours. What's going on there?
You'd have to ask her because I
You
don't
never
really
talk
know.
about it.
We've talked about it. I think it's really just trying to get the project in as a whole. Make sure that it's got all the backing behind it that it needs, and it's a difficult climate to actually, do business. It's easier than it has been at points in the past, but it's not easy. These things are hard to do, and the more barriers we put up to doing them, the harder it is, right?
Why is Times Square so nasty?
Well,
and why is nothing being done by your council about fixing Times Square, John?
Well, there's a part of it that's the Times Square that's owned by the town. I get that. The other part is there are things that are happening, right? The ice cream shop is going to be coming back. We've got plans we're seeing, Terry's got his plan to go through and he's moving forward, which I'm pleased to see.
Yeah.
Do I think it's the best design in the world from the preliminary stuff that I've seen? Okay. It's something being done.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, Terry put some pictures out there. The last pictures I saw they were very big. I don't know. It would seem odd that would fit on that property, but whatever.
But that's what you can do by right when you absolutely maximize your envelope, right?
And Terry has not donated yet to the 4th of July fireworks. I don't know if anybody heard that, but I just
that's news to me. I actually never heard that before.
I'm going to stop saying that on July 5th. So, what was the other thing? The theater or any other projects that you have all approved that you know of might be starting soon? I know these guys.
I mean, there's a lot of, in the last weeks or so, we've had several ribbon cuttings of, the condos that have been coming back, and that's been wonderful stuff. We saw, the groundbreaking of Access 26, which there's a great example of a project that as it worked its way through the process ended up with significant brick and mortar commitment to build, and they're going to do it, and it's going to be great.
And that's interesting too, because that's right around a neighborhood with condos and a couple of houses.
It is, and as everybody does, right, in their own end. It's a concentric circles. When you look at it, if you're right next door to something and it's happening, that's harder to swallow, and you have more it has more impact on you, and therefore you actually have a greater voice. The further away you get from it, the less impact it has on you. And, we're going to see that with every single development. Yeah,
and I don't want you, obviously, to comment on this because I think the Wyndham that was just approved by the LPA comes before the council on August 3rd. I think you can say that. I think it will be on the agenda. At least that's what I was told by Patrick. I think it was Patrick on August 3rd. And they have to only go through one council meeting. Somebody will correct me because it was a development agreement.
I believe because it's a development agreement,
and it was unanimous.
It only has to have one.
Right. And Silver Sands is coming up too, and that has to go through two.
That's because that's the more traditional CPD process.
And
I can't.
That's a beautiful project. I hope you guys had a chance to see the pictures. So there are other things. coming up, and of course we got the biggest one that's coming up in a few months too. But
yeah, but I think you were talking about there has been so much progress on this island,
Yeah.
right? And the other thing is when we look at it from a residential perspective, wow, what we're seeing come back, and
100%.
When you look at the property tax values and people say we don't need any more development, et cetera, et cetera. Listen, about 50% of the revenue that we get, it comes from non-homesteaded properties on the island. And then it's pretty even 15%, 15%, and 15%. One of those 15%, give or take a point or two, is undeveloped land. That's potential.
Yeah.
That's all that is potential. The other 15% is on homesteaded properties.
That's not too bad.
That's not too bad. And then the other 15% is basically commercial. And, if we want to, number one, maintain our property values, number two, keep a balanced economy that isn't just totally dependent, we need to have more commercial activity. And that's how we end up with a balanced community with amenities and a nice place to live and things to do. And I think that's really important. But that 15% of undeveloped properties,
residential or business?
Residential.
All right.
And if those get developed, you think about the impact of those on our tax rolls.
Yeah, because those are going to be really nice houses.
Everything new that comes in is at a much higher level. So
let me ask you this. By the way, folks, the 7-Eleven is open. They opened yesterday. It was kind of like a quiet opening. They're having their grand opening in July with a ribbon cutting and giveaways and all that. But they are open. So, I mean, we're talking about, 7-Eleven here. The one across from Junkanoo looks like they're close. This one is a little further along because they started last. But when the 7-Elevens are all back open, that must be a good sign because that's corporations, big corporations saying, okay, we can make money at this, like the Publix.
100%. I mean, these are the partners in our community. When you look at the Publix coming back, all the work that Jim Adderholt did with CVS and Santini Plaza and all of that stuff, that was like absolutely critical to the early stages of our recovery. We're now good. We've got that, but we need more, right?
Well, let me ask you this. When you hear, just generally, if you ever hear people say, the vibe has to come back and this has to be built. If you don't build this, the vibe isn't coming back. What is your response to that? Because that is a threat.
I think the vibe is back.
Okay.
I do.
So you're not buying that argument?
Well, I don't know. There's music being played on the beach. There's beer being drank, and there's a lot of people enjoying the white sand behind us and the boats out there. So, yeah, that is the vibe of Fort Myers Beach. It's eclectic, and it needs to continue to grow and thrive. That's the real answer. And you know something? We just went through and did our strategic plan, right? The whole thing that starts, even the comprehensive plan lives underneath that. And it's an eclectic, thriving community. That hasn't changed.
Right.
That's our goal. That's what we're doing. Sustainability, balancing, ensuring that we're protecting the environment. Those are all really super important things here on the beach.
So let's talk about the beach school with property tax reform on the horizon, which sounds like everybody thinks is going to pass. The beach school hasn't been open since the last hurricane, and there seems to be a goal of leaning toward a charter school. How is Fort Myers Beach going to pay for a charter school?
I don't know. I think we're still in really early stages. I know that we're reaching out to a lot of the other charter schools and the groups that have put those together to find out how did they do it and how were they, like the successful ones, right? You got to go and learn from what they did. But we as a community, I mean, we're really strong at supporting ourselves and our community. You look at the various groups, the Friends of Bay Oaks, you look at the Friends of Lovers Key. I know that's not on the island, but you look at them. You look at the Friends of the Mound House. I mean, the support this community shows.
No doubt. But would you be in favor of there being money in the budget from the taxpayers to fund a charter school? Now, I know it wouldn't have to be 100%. I know there's still money that comes in from the district and all that. And, but would you be in favor, knowing that there's going to be property tax reform, to somehow increasing ad valorem or whatever it is. I don't know where the money would come from because you're going to have money. You're going to run the town is going to run a school.
I don't know how that's going to happen. I just don't know. I mean, the reality is, no, I don't think that the whole community needs to have their taxes raised to support a school, but I don't know what that gap is. I don't know how, I don't know what the impact would be yet. And I think we need to learn how other people have done it successfully. And if there's a model that works here on the beach, then of course we support the school. There's one thing I want to say though, too. I agree with you. I think this property tax reform is going to pass in November, but as far as it goes, the impact here on the beach is like 6%. Mm-hmm. Sanibel, it's like, I don't know, 8%, I think it is. You're talking about Lee County being 20%, it being like 28% for Cape Coral. Those are communities that are really, really going to have to make some much harder decisions than we're going to have to do. Will is out in front of, what he's going to do at developing the budget that's going to come towards us. I feel confident that he's going to be able to, fit within what he needs. And the impact, we're so lucky that we have a balanced economy that's not just residential. That's what's lessened the impact of all of this on us.
Right. So what is your vision for Bay Oaks?
My vision for Bay Oaks, to make it more accessible to the residents. We saw a presentation just at the last council, and I'm actually going to meet with Michelle to learn more because I was so impressed with their vision, which is to beautify it, to make it more accessible, to increase the programming, to actually bring in revenue, all of these things that the Friends of Bay Oaks are saying very openly. Tell us what your support is and what the gaps are, and then we'll go do that. I mean, that was an incredibly powerful message. So helpful to our community.
Michelle.
Yeah.
When she spoke at public comment the other day.
Yeah, no, I mean, like it was leadership within our community, bringing solutions, not just saying, oh, we need this, we need that. No, they're bringing solutions. Yeah. And I think Bay Oaks can be way more beautiful, can have way better programming, can actually open up to be accessible to the residents that actually have to work for a living. All of those things can happen.
When you say accessible, what do you mean?
I mean, hours of operation, number one.
Yeah, like a key fob system.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, it is a great idea. And I know you got all the attorneys looking at things. Just for background, I think I mentioned this. We used to do these, Kim and I, for the last decade until we started playing old people games, pickleball. We'd go to these races and they'd make you sign a waiver. It was basically you could die in this race. I mean, and I know everybody can sue for everything, but my point is, you get a camera, you get a door that works. That I have a 24-hour gym membership at one of the gyms. You're not allowed to let somebody in behind you, even though you know that your friend is standing behind you. He's got a key. Everybody's got a key, and that's a good rule.
Yeah.
The minute you let somebody in, your privileges are revoked if you can't follow the rules. Now, the other thing was everybody's worried about somebody slipping and falling or weights falling on their head. Well, obviously that could happen. If you got some kind of system where you can call somebody, or you got cameras. I mean, in the 24-hour gyms I've been in, nobody's ever died.
Are we supposed to be walking around with bubbles around us and stuff? Like, right. Come on, let's just live a little.
But my last point on that is, we're playing pickleball at 7:00 in the morning, John, on your property, the town's property.
Yep.
I could easily break an ankle.
By the way, I want to thank you for your membership.
Yes, well,
I really do. I mean, you're not just sponging off the town. You're paying for the services that you're using, and I applaud you for that.
I don't think anything should be free. I think it should be user based. But anyway, so I mean, there's a liability on the pickleball courts. There's nobody watching
everything we do. I mean, you walk out the door, there's a liability. Come on.
Okay,
we got to manage that stuff.
Lastly, on Bay Oaks, and I hope you guys stay connected with Michelle, because she's really passionate about Not that Barbara Hill wasn't, because she
other
is.
people aren't.
That's
I'm
right.
just
But
saying.
she's getting out there and really being forceful. So and she's easy to get behind. She's the kind of person that can motivate other people to do things.
100%.
So,
I mean, it just and she's one example of just the type of volunteering community spirit
yes.
that we have on this island. There is so much. Everybody here loves this island so much, and they want to help and want to contribute, and they do. And everybody does it in their own way. Some, if it's the Mound House that's really, really important to you, then they get involved in that. It's a great thing to see.
So the last thing on Bay Oaks is the pool.
Yeah.
Would you be in favor of alcohol being served at that pool?
I don't know if this is possible, but I certainly think that there may be a really good John Jusselaire knows pools inside and out, right? Now, I think we should be listening to people like that. I think that there's a great opportunity to bring in, some private management, not sell the pool by any means, but have a way that the pool can be operated in a way that makes it better than just your typical municipal pool. And if that involves selling alcohol in the pool, I think there should be events, right? I think you should be able to rent out the pool and have an event there.
For kids' parties and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So where are you on the alcohol? Is that a yes or a no?
I think it's probably a yes.
Yeah. I think most people on the island would vote yes when it comes to alcohol. Right, Ed?
I don't know. I'm thinking, okay, like maybe beer and wine only. I don't know, something like that.
What is your biggest accomplishment so far?
My biggest accomplishment? Oh, it's just...
don't say it's counting the votes during that.
No, my biggest accomplishment, honestly, what I'm most proud of is the contributions that I've been trying to make and trying to be engaged with since Ian. It totally changed my life. I really hadn't been paying attention before that, and I've done not nothing, but I've been very much focused on doing whatever I can to help the community all 100%. The way through it.
Yep.
And so what is that? It's not an accomplishment, but what has been the result of that is being appointed to the LPA. What is the result of doing the work on the LPA and really digging in and being prepared and, understanding the issues and listening to the residents is gaining the trust of the majority of council to get appointed to the council. That's not an accomplishment. It's a result of the activities that have been consistent over the last 3.5, now coming very close to 4 years.
I heard from a reliable source that at the debate on Wednesday, you're going to wear a T-shirt that says, "I'm for responsible growth." Is that true or not true? I just made that up.
No, it's going to say, "Ask me about responsible growth."
So how will you vote on property tax reform? Yes or no?
I'm going to reserve that because it's a vote, and I don't feel like I need to put that out there.
Really? You don't want to be totally transparent about everything. You want a little bit of secretive stuff.
No, that's okay. Right now, I'm leaning to yes.
Okay. Yeah. I flip-flopped on it. I was a no, and now I'm a yes.
I know.
I'm a solid
that's
yes.
Why I'm saying, will I change my mind? I don't know. Maybe.
I think the most important thing about that property tax thing is that the municipalities somehow come up with a whiteboard that says, okay, we need to cut $46 million. Here's how we're going to cut it. Here's the fees we're going to raise. And we're not trying to scare everybody, because everybody that's going into the voting booth, if you're not going to cut it, they're going to assume that you're scaring them, that you're trying to scare them, because everybody thinks there's too much government. And I'm on that team.
No, I get that. And there's always, I spent 30 plus years in corporate America. I've lived through the times where every single year there was a 25% reduction, and somehow we kept the lights on and the business running and maintained a Fortune 500 status as a business.
Yeah.
I've lived through those times. They're not fun.
No.
But they're accomplishable.
No,
and the other side is, the impact here on the beach, as I said, is 6% to us. I think the bigger impact for us on the beach is the impact that Lee County is going to have to do.
Yeah,
And
right now they're fixing your medians,
right.
And it's a little bit of a hassle to get through now, but during season it's going to be new, and they may not be able to send somebody down to fix that if we cut it.
I'm just saying, thank God that the projects that the county has stepped up to, Bowditch, Crescent right here, you said it,
Yep.
Lynn Hall Park, and that those projects are already they're being done. Because I don't know that in the new environment we would see what we're seeing.
Can you imagine? I don't know how 6 months or 12 months from now, when you come over that bridge and you see the new landscaping that the state or the county's putting in, and then the golf cart, bike parking in front of Margaritaville, and then this fence will be down, and you can see all the nice trees and the new Crescent Park. Can you just imagine? I can imagine that picture. I would go like this, so I didn't see Times Square, but I'd go this way anyway. But can you imagine how pretty that's going to look? It's going to look really cool.
Listen, that is the face of Fort Myers Beach, right? Yeah. If there is one image that everybody has, it's coming over that bridge. When we came over that bridge, we would do SpongeBob when the kids were small, like, woo, woo, woo. Look at it. It's the view of the water. My God, it's gorgeous.
I'm going to clip that out and use it for your campaign. That's a SpongeBob thing? I didn't even know that.
That's what it is. It was when our kids were small. But my point is, it's the feeling that you get when you come over that bridge and you see the Gulf and you see Times Square and the downtown district. It is the image of Fort Myers Beach.
Why should people vote for John McLean?
I think they should vote for me because I've actually very much understand the issues. I'm very much a person that is thoughtful about what I do. I'm not dogmatic about it. I listen a lot. I do a lot of research. I also I think the experience that I've gained since Hurricane Ian, being on the LPA and now being on town council, is invaluable. I mean, there's so much to learn from being on those councils and actually having to do the work. So I think that's an important aspect of it. I think it's the fact that I'm not going to stifle development on this island, and I think we need development on this island so that we can maintain our property values, maintain the runaway residential portion of our taxes. I think we need more commercial to help support that. And those are the main reasons. It's like, let's go. Let's go.
If you were elected again, who would you vote for mayor for the next year? Being that every November you have to reappoint a mayor.
I don't know. I see any reason to change. I wish Dan was a little bit more pro-development than he is, but I think he's done just an admirable job representing the town at the county, state, and federal level. I think I don't see any reason for a change there.
When you that was surprising. You want him to be more pro-development. What is your perception on his views on development?
So Dan is absolutely supportive of everything that has passed and everything that's going to be happening. But if you look at his voting record, he really hasn't been in support of many of these developments. And I think that's an area where I wish he was a little more supportive. But hey, that's okay. That's okay.
What's your report card on Will so far? It's been a little over a year.
I think Will is great. I think we have been so fortunate as a town when we had our interim managers come in. My God, thank goodness they were there and they were able to help us. And then Andy came in and he was able to really build the team and make it much more responsive to the residents and everybody else. I was sad to see him go, but then when Will came in, he brings a whole nother skill set, and it's the right person at the right time, and I think he's doing a great job. There are areas where I stated in his review that I think we still need some improvement, and a lot of it is around responsiveness to the residents, the phone calls, the getting back to people. I know they've got a stated what we call a recovery or a response time objective of 48 hours. That's great. Let's make it 24 hours. Let's get back to the residents.
Well, let me ask you a question. If somebody calls City Hall or Town Hall, sorry.
Yeah.
Why can't somebody pick up the phone and say hello?
You can get through to somebody.
Okay.
Yeah.
The responsiveness that you're talking about.
No,
is
it's
what
answering
then?
the questions.
If there's like a permitting question.
If it's,
I got you.
And the town is doing really, really well, but I'm still hearing that there's some areas where they could do better.
We doing okay on how we get the permits out? Yeah, are you happy with the turnaround with the permits? Because I was eating breakfast with somebody yesterday who wouldn't have given an A for that.
No. I mean, I know that there are so many individual experiences that are very frustrated by it. The reality is we've got a lot of rules on this beach because we're on a barrier island that's got the flood. So that exists. We've made unbelievable improvements in that, but there's still work to be done.
Okay. It's been an entire hour already, which was very fast. How can people get involved in helping you?
Well, my website is McLean4FMB.com.
You have a website.
I have a website.
I can't believe you didn't send that to me. I love all the candidates and whatever they want to send me to share. What? Oh, well, no, he didn't send me his I would have shared it with my 5 followers.
Why are you not following me on Facebook?
I can't believe it. I can't believe it because I'm trying to get my head unraveled from Cape Coral. You want to talk about crazy? Go over to Cape Coral and try and figure that council out.
I'm sure.
You know, the comparison on this council, which you're on to that one, and I say this all the time, is you guys are, I feel like you're kind of like a cohesive group. You talk things out a little bit, and then you vote on it, and then you move on. It's like a circus over there. I mean, it's just completely different.
Yeah, no, I listen, from my experience on the LPA through my experience with town council, these are all good people that 100%. Are trying the hardest that they can to do the right thing. And we may disagree on how that gets done or what, but we're all trying to get this place.
So it's McLean4council.com.
No, McLean4FMB.com.
All right. So if you want to go online there, I'm sure you got your platform and your pictures and all that and how people can donate.
And I would appreciate any and all support.
All right. Big hand for John McLean, everybody. One of
thank you.
5 candidates. Thank you, John, running for town council. And I'll take that from you. Before you hang up the phone, I need to tell you about our sponsors for today, and then I'll run down the schedule of our guests. For the next 2 weeks. Alex King, the Alex King Group, is one of our sponsors today. You know what Alex King does, John Nash? He creates dreams, and you need a good dream every now and then, John. He elevates lifestyles. Well, you don't need that, John. Your life is very well elevated, just like John's house is going to be. They've done the research and the homework, so you don't have to. They're meeting with builders, design companies, contractors every week. And you can give Alex King a call at 239-219-0336 or follow them on the Facebook, everybody, because they are super good, just like John is, at social media. Eagle Eye Aluminum is one of our newest sponsors because they are not just specializing in soffit, fascia, gutters, and rescreens anymore. They're just expanding and partnering with remodeling contractors. And they're very diverse now. You may have seen Tom on our show last Sunday at Wahoo Willie's. They also do pool cages and sunrooms, other structural aluminum. And you know what? You can trust Tom. He's got over 10 years in custom bathrooms and kitchens and outdoor kitchens and whole condo renovations. Give Tom Coleman a call. He's sitting in his car right now waiting for you because this is his cell phone number, everybody. 239-340-1639. 239-340-1639. Thank you to Eagle Eye Aluminum. And lastly, the Islands Pancake House. I love the Islands Pancake House, and I hate the Islands Pancake House. And here's why. Because I go to play 3 hours of pickleball thinking I get the exercise in, and they go to the Islands Pancake House, and I eat this. It's called the Mess. And it's got eggs and sausage and bacon, and it's gigantic. And then I have an English muffin with butter on it, and I put all the calories back on that I just burnt off from the pickleball. But it's so damn good. And we want you to stop by the Islands Pancake House and see Brian and Stacy and all their great, magnificent help that they have there. They're so nice. And they're located in the Seagrave Plaza, which is owned by the parking Nazi who's going to be in court next week, and we're going to be there to watch him. And that has nothing to do with the Islands Pancake House, by the way. They have air conditioning. When you walk in there, it's very chilly, which is what you want right now. And they have a full liquor bar, which I know everybody on Fort Myers Beach loves. So go to the Islands Pancake House in the Seagrape Plaza and tell them that Ed Schoonover sent you. All right, everybody. The schedule for the rest of the next few weeks, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, tomorrow is Sunday, and we have Tom Brady on from 10 to 11. Actually, for a few minutes before Tom comes on the show, we have Abigail, who is the PIO for the town, and she's Mrs. Florida, by the way. So she's coming on with her crown. I bet you didn't know she was Mrs. Florida. I have no idea what that has to do with the town, but I guess we'll find out tomorrow. We're also going to be talking about the parade. You can still get your floats into the parade by going to the Bay Oaks website and getting in contact with Neil. Then on Wednesday's the big debate. All 5 candidates, by the way, I just want to make sure you know, if you're watching, all 5 candidates get complimentary parking at the resort. So stuff your friends in the bus and come on down to Margaritaville for the 5 o'clock debate. Or you can come and join us live right in the room there. They have a lovely setup with air conditioning. Saturday's the boat parade at 11 o'clock at Salty Sam. Sunday is Anita Saracita, and I'm sure she's going to yell at me on Sunday for what I said today. And then the 4th of July parade and fireworks. So a lot of activity going on here. And we will see you tomorrow, Wahoo Willies. Thanks for coming, everybody. Yes, and we have our nice new shirts. I have an outfit for the 4th of July that's going to fill out this shirt that came in the mail from Amazon. So I'm going to be broadcasting the parade. Kim's not going to be anywhere near me. She's going to be so embarrassed. So, yes, we have a few of these shirts left. We sold 50 of them in the last week. So we have a few sizes left here. We'll see you tomorrow, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.